What if I told you that sometimes the biggest advantage in life is not talent, is not money, is not even opportunity, but an obsession? An obsession so powerful that it refuses to accept defeat. An obsession that turns pressure into fuel, failure into motivation, and criticism into power. This is the story of a man who was never satisfied, never quiet, never average. A man who didn't just chase success, he chased dominance. This is the story of Donald J. Trump. Donald John Trump was born on June 14, 1946, in Queens, New York City. From the outside, his life looked like a perfect beginning. A wealthy family, a safe environment, a future already secured. But reality is rarely that simple. His father, Fred Trump, was a powerful and disciplined businessman. He built thousands of homes across New York and understood one thing better than most people: how to turn land into money. His mother, Marion McLeod Trump, was softer in personality but equally strong in resilience. She had left Scotland in search of a better life, and brought with her a quiet strength that shaped the family. Donald grew up surrounded by success. But success alone does not define a person. Personality does. And Donald's personality was impossible to ignore. He was loud. He was energetic. He wanted attention. He didn't just want to be part of the room. He wanted to control it. At school, he often clashed with authority. Rules felt limiting. Discipline felt unnecessary. He didn't like being told what to do. But more than anything, he hated losing. For Donald, losing was not just failure. It was unacceptable. By the age of 13, his parents realized something important. If this energy was not controlled, it could destroy his future. So they made a decision that would change his life forever. They sent him to the New York Military Academy. For a boy used to comfort, this felt like punishment. No luxury. No special treatment. No freedom. Military school was strict. Wake up early. Follow orders. Respect authority. At first, it was difficult. But something unexpected happened. Instead of resisting, Donald adapted. He learned discipline. He learned structure. But most importantly, he learned control. And once he learned control, his natural aggression became strength. He started rising. He earned ranks, gained respect, became a leader among students. This was the first transformation. The rebellious boy became a competitive leader. And one belief became permanent: winning is everything. After graduating, Trump moved on to college. He joined Fordham University. But Fordham was not enough. He wanted more. He transferred to the prestigious Wharton School, one of the top business schools in the world. There, he studied economics. But Trump was not just focused on academics. He was focused on power. He observed how money moved, how deals were made, how influence worked. He wasn't preparing for a job. He was preparing for control. In 1968, he graduated and stepped into his father's business. At that time, the company focused on middle-class housing. Brooklyn, Queens. Safe, stable, predictable. But Donald Trump was not interested in predictable. He wanted scale. He wanted attention. He wanted dominance. And for that, he needed a bigger stage. That stage was Manhattan. At the time, Manhattan was risky, expensive, competitive. Many developers avoided it. But Trump saw something different: opportunity. His first major challenge came in the form of a failing property: the Commodore Hotel. It was outdated, losing money, almost forgotten. Most people ignored it. Trump didn't. He saw potential where others saw problems. He made a bold move. Partnered with Hyatt. Negotiated tax breaks. Took financial risks. And transformed the property into the Grand Hyatt Hotel. This was not just a success. It was a statement. For the first time, Donald Trump proved that he could build something on his own. He was no longer just the son of Fred Trump. He was a name. And that name was about to grow. From that moment on, he didn't slow down. He thought bigger, acted bolder, risked more. The 1980s became his golden era. He built Trump Tower, a skyscraper that represented luxury and power. Gold interiors, luxury apartments, high-end stores. It wasn't just a building. It was branding. It told the world, this is what success looks like. Celebrities visited. Media covered him. Trump became famous. Not just rich. Famous. And with fame came influence. He expanded into new industries. Casinos in Atlantic City. Luxury hotels. Airlines. Golf courses. His empire grew rapidly. And everywhere, there was one name. Trump. For many people, he became the symbol of success. But rapid success often hides hidden risks. And for Trump, those risks were building quietly in the background. Massive loans, heavy investments, aggressive expansion. Everything looked strong from the outside. But inside, the pressure was growing. And soon, everything would collapse. Success is powerful. But uncontrolled success is dangerous. By the late 1980s, Donald Trump was everywhere. Magazines featured him. Television talked about him. Business circles respected him. He had money. He had fame. He had influence. But behind the scenes, something was slowly going wrong. Trump's strategy was simple. Think big. Act bigger. Borrow even bigger. He believed that taking massive risks would bring massive rewards. And for a while, it worked. But every risk has a breaking point. And in the early 1990s, that breaking point arrived. The economy slowed down. Real estate prices dropped. Casinos stopped performing well. And suddenly, Trump's empire started shaking. At first, it was small cracks. A delay here. A loss there. But then, those cracks turned into fractures. His casinos in Atlantic City began losing millions. His airline business struggled. Luxury properties became difficult to maintain. And the biggest problem of all, debt. Trump had borrowed billions of dollars. Billions. And now, the income was not enough to cover the pressure. Banks started calling. Payments were due. Interest kept growing. And within a short time, the situation became critical. At one point, Donald Trump was nearly $1 billion in personal debt. His total business debt? Over $9 billion. This was not just a setback. This was a financial disaster. The media reacted immediately. Headlines exploded. Trump is finished. Empire collapsing. From billionaire to bankrupt. People who once admired him now doubted him. Critics laughed. Experts predicted his end. For most people, this would be the moment they give up. But Trump was not most people. He understood something important. If he quit now, everything would be lost. So instead of running away, he stepped forward. He faced the crisis. He met with bankers, negotiated deals, asked for time, restructured loans. It wasn't easy. Banks didn't trust him completely. Pressure was intense. Every decision mattered. Every move could either save him or destroy him completely. At one point, he had to sell major assets, luxury items, properties, investments. Things he once showed as symbols of success were now being used to survive. This was not just financial loss. It was emotional pressure, public embarrassment, personal struggle. But here's what made Trump different. He didn't accept defeat. Even when everything was falling apart, he kept negotiating. He kept pushing. He kept believing that he could come back. And slowly, step by step, he did. By the mid to late 1990s, Trump stabilized his situation. He wasn't at his peak anymore. But he wasn't finished either. And sometimes, survival is the first step to come back. This phase of his life is often ignored. But it is the most important. Because it proves one thing. Success can make you famous. But failure reveals who you really are. And Trump? He proved that he was not just lucky. He was resilient. But his story was far from over. Because the next chapter would take him into a completely different world. A world where business meets entertainment. A world where image becomes everything. Television. In 2004, Donald Trump made a move that surprised many people. He entered television. Not as a guest. Not as a businessman. But as the face of a show. That show was The Apprentice. The concept was simple. A group of contestants compete in business challenges. They are tested, judged, eliminated, and one person wins. But the real attraction of the show was not the contestants. It was Trump himself. His personality. His confidence. His presence. And one iconic line that became unforgettable. "You're fired." The show became a massive hit. Millions of viewers tuned in. Every episode built excitement. And Trump? He became bigger than ever. Not just in business, but in popular culture. People who had never followed real estate now knew his name. He was no longer just a businessman. He was a celebrity. A global personality. And with that came influence. A different kind of power. The power of attention. The power of image. The power to shape opinions. And Trump used it. For years, he spoke about politics. Sometimes seriously. Sometimes casually. He criticized leaders. Talked about policies. Shared strong opinions. But most people still didn't take him seriously. To them, he was a businessman. A TV personality. Not a future president. But Trump was thinking differently. He wasn't just observing politics. He was studying it. Understanding it. Preparing for something bigger. And then, in 2015, everything changed. Donald Trump stepped forward and made an announcement. "I am running for President of the United States." The reaction? Immediate. Laughter. Criticism. Disbelief. Media outlets mocked him. Experts dismissed him. Opponents didn't take him seriously. To them, this was not a real campaign. It was a publicity stunt. But they underestimated something important. Trump's connection with people. He didn't speak like traditional politicians. He was direct. Blunt. Unfiltered. He said things others avoided. Talked about issues in simple language. Immigration. Jobs. Security. And slowly, people started listening. Crowds began to grow. Support increased. Momentum started building. What once looked like a joke was turning into a serious movement. The media couldn't ignore him anymore. Opponents had to respond. And Trump? He kept going. Stronger. Louder. More confident. Because deep down, he believed something. He could win. By 2016, something unusual was happening. What started as a campaign was now a movement. Donald Trump was no longer just a candidate. He had become a force. Crowds filled stadiums. Supporters traveled long distances just to hear him speak. And the more he spoke, the more attention he gained. The media criticized him. But that criticism only made him more visible. Every headline, every debate, every controversy kept him in the spotlight. And Trump understood something very few people understood. Attention is power. Whether people loved him or hated him. They were talking about him. And in politics, that matters. The 2016 election became one of the most intense elections in modern history. On one side, Hillary Clinton, experienced, established, supported by powerful networks. On the other side, Donald Trump, outsider, unpredictable, unfiltered. Most experts predicted one outcome: Trump would lose. Polls suggested it. Media believed it. But elections are not decided by predictions. They are decided by people. And on election night, something unexpected happened. State by state, results started coming in. At first, it looked close. Then slowly, Trump began to lead. Key states turned in his favor. The map started changing. And suddenly, the impossible was becoming real. By the end of the night, the world stood still. Donald J. Trump had won. He became the 45th President of the United States. It was one of the biggest political upsets in history. A man who was once laughed at now stood at the top of the most powerful country in the world. This was not just a victory. It was a shockwave. Taking office is one thing. Leading a nation is another. Trump entered the White House with a completely different style. He was not traditional. He did not follow old political rules. He spoke directly, acted boldly, and made decisions quickly. His presidency was intense from the very beginning. He focused on economic growth, trade deals, immigration policies, national security. Supporters praised him. They believed he was doing what others could not. Critics, however, strongly opposed him. They questioned his decisions, challenged his style, and constantly criticized his actions. But Trump remained consistent. He stayed visible. He stayed vocal. And most importantly, he stayed confident. He used social media actively, communicated directly with the public, held rallies even during his presidency, maintained a strong connection with his supporters. Love him or hate him, he was impossible to ignore. Every day, he was in the news. Every move was discussed worldwide. His presidency was not quiet. It was loud, powerful, and constantly under attention. In 2020, Trump decided to run again. This time, against Joe Biden. The election was intense. Emotions were high. The country was divided. Supporters stood strong. Opponents were determined. Campaigns became aggressive. Debates became heated. And once again, the world was watching. Election night arrived. Results started coming in. It was close. Very close. But in the end, the result was different this time. Donald Trump lost the election. Joe Biden became the next president. For many leaders, this would be the end of their story. But not for Trump. Even after leaving office, Trump did not disappear. He remained active, held rallies, spoke publicly, stayed connected with his supporters, maintained influence in politics, and continued shaping conversations. Because for Trump, power was not just about position. It was about presence. And his presence never faded. He continued to hint at future plans, remained in the spotlight, and proved once again he was not someone who disappears quietly. Donald Trump's life is not simple. It is not perfect. It is not universally admired. But it is powerful, because it shows something real. Success is not a straight line. It goes up. It crashes down. It rises again. Trump experienced wealth, fame, failure, recovery, victory, loss, and through all of it, he remained one thing: unstoppable in mindset. Donald Trump's story teaches one powerful truth. Life will test you. It will challenge you. It will break you. But what matters is not how many times you fall. It's how many times you refuse to stay down. He was born into wealth, but still fought for greater success. He lost billions, but refused to quit. He was mocked, but proved the world wrong. He was doubted, but became president. From a businessman, to a bankrupt risk-taker, to a global celebrity, to the leader of the most powerful nation, his journey is proof that confidence, risk, and persistence can take you further than anyone expects. If you found this story powerful, like the video, subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories, and comment below. I will rise again. Because no matter where you are right now, your story is not finished yet.